Going from one druggie on to the next, the Johnny Manziel Untold documentary on Netflix came out yesterday, the 8th. I had a chance to watch it. Very good. Neither of you had a chance to watch it yet?
I'm about 30 minutes in right now. Stopped right before the podcast.
What
What
do
do
you
you
think?
think?
Not a Johnny fan. Not gonna watch it. What's your gripe with Johnny Manziel?
He sucked.
What do you mean he sucked?
He was bad.
In the NFL?
Yes, that's where it matters.
I mean, hey, man still made NFL money while he was in college.
That's fine. I can agree that he would probably be one of the highest earners if NIL deals were allowed back then. He obviously made money regardless of it being a thing or not, but he was he's one of those cult of personality guys. And
Well, Texas
when
A&M
that
is a cult.
when that doesn't uh equate to success, especially in the NFL, I'm all like, what was the hype even for? Like I
Tim
don't like
Tebow.
didn't like him either.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't like Tim. I don't know. I don't want to spoil it for anybody listening. I mean, by the time people are listening to this, they've probably already watched the documentary. But I'll only cover the stuff that's really being talked about on Twitter, because it's really interesting. I remember watching Johnny Manziel, and obviously we've had Matt Wallerstead on the show, coach at UTEP. He was one of the defensive coaches at Texas A&M while Johnny Manziel was there. He shared a couple of his stories with us. If you haven't heard those, go back to the first pod with him on. It was a year or two ago. Some of his stories with Johnny and Mike Evans were really good. But yeah, the him sharing his story about win or lose, we booze. I remember watching what yeah he didn't care win or lose. Like he said himself that he didn't care what happened during, like he didn't care about football. He cared about what happened after football, happened after the game. If you won,
Sounds like
the
he should have been
parties
a
were going to
rugby
be great.
player.
He
Social
should have been.
socials after every game.
He should have been. He would have been the life of every. I'm sure he was already the life of every party, but he would have been electric as a rugby player. um and how I remember watching like all the TV shows and like Undisputed and First Take and everything that was going on, and all of them talking about how Johnny Manziel's parents were making money from owning oil mines and all of this stuff. And his friend made that up so that they could bypass the NCAA, who were investigating them for doing the autographs and whatnot that they were making money on, and the NCAA bought it. Man was taking PJs from College Station to Las Vegas and LA, doing all sorts of autograph signings and popping bottles and hanging out with Drake, blowing lines, everything under the sun. And the NCAA was none the wiser because they bought a lie that his parents came from money, damn well knowing that they could just look up literally every single player's parents and figure out where they came from.
So if he was just that, like if all Johnny football was like great in college, took advantage of the NCAA, like he's legendary for that aspect of his sports career. But what kind of pisses me off is like the year that he was drafted, the commentators of the draft, their intro when the TV segment came on is like, we're here today to figure out where Johnny football goes.
Yep.
And then he goes to the NFL and shits a brick. Like that
No,
is intrinsically what, you know,
I want to
frustrates
put a
me about the
pause on
that's
that
what
whole.
too because he didn't.
happens. That's what
Go
happens
ahead.
whenever you don't watch film at all. The
That's what I
Browns
was going to
gave him
say.
an iPad, and they were able to track his time on that, and it was up to 0.00 total minutes
Zero.
watched.
He couldn't quit doing the drugs. That was the thing. He didn't shit the bed. if he actually applied himself, I think he could have ended up being a much better quarterback.
That is
but he
shitting the bed.
He didn't even shit the bed because he didn't even try. He didn't even try. That it is shitting the bed in a sense. I get that, but like he didn't watch film. He didn't show up to practices.
I'm
Dude was in
card.
LA on
I'm
Saturday when the game was on Sunday.
Like as football players, as athletes in multiple sports, whatever sport, you are and should be held to a slightly higher standard than the rest of society. You, just by being in the spotlight, are role models for younger kids that are in the game. There's so many people that looked up to Johnny Football. You owe it in some way, shape, or form to those younger fans to, like, if you're that good, to go out and try.
Yeah.
He ruined his career through personal choices, and part of those personal choices might make him a legend in some people's eyes, but like, I don't know. There's a weird sentimental connection that I have to especially the sport of football, and that millions, billions of kids have to their particular sport. That these athletes, at least, they should put in some kind of effort.
I'm with
that.
that.
And I mean, Johnny Football doesn't make my top 5 sports grudges, but like, I have enough to say about him. Okay.
I would agree. And I think it can correlate as well. Like, yes, you do owe something to a lot of people, and especially your employer, to actually give a shit and try. But I'd also like to take it a step further, and while everybody does need to try, I think sports needs to be less serious. It's a fun thing. It's a kid's game. The media is so serious, and the fans take it so serious, and the players can't even. It's hard for them to have fun up on the podium when they're answering questions, and the media doesn't have fun with it either. We need to start having more fun with sports. And I think we're a part of that as well, taking it so serious last year, and we like to have fun, but it's sports, man. It's a kid's game. It's meant to be fun. We need to have a little bit more fun with this whole thing.
I'm not toxic enough to take it to the point like I'm calling in death threats on an athlete. No. I'm not going to badmouth anybody too personally, like but I am very passionate about it. And as someone who spends quite a bit of money to be a former season ticket holder, I kind of expect athletes to give a shit.
I think the Chiefs are in a really good period. One of those areas right now. We've got a few more things to get to before we get into some Chiefs talk, but just to touch on that, like having fun aspect, I think the Chiefs have found somewhat of a good mix as you get Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce doing their podcast, but also what they're doing, Travis and Patrick are doing on podiums and having fun, and Andy Reid, and you're getting the coaches involved. And there's a lot of funny answers to also funny questions that the local media is giving. And I want to see that more on a national level, have more fun with it. I think the Chiefs have found a good, even medium between that.
Bussin' with the Boys had a really cool, fun story when they talked about Mike Vrabel as a coach. But when Will Compton was on that team, him and Taylor were shooting the shit about the little foam sword game that they played. Like that is a part of what makes sports light and fun and builds that camaraderie, and they don't have to take themselves so serious. But yeah, like, I mean, they should work hard and play hard.